What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here with yet another Tottenham update. A few bits and pieces to get into today, and we're going to start off talking about Tottenham Academy graduate Troy Parrott, as Alistair Gold has been suggesting in one of his articles and on social media, saying that Troy Parrott would return to Tottenham, a club he loved regardless of their top flight status. The young striker was always desperate to be a success for Spurs, and the distance has not changed that. Spurs do have a clause in the contract where we can get a 20% buyback, if a sell-on clause, basically. So that will make it cheaper for Spurs to get him than any other club. I think if we go down, I think it'd be a great option for us if we were to go down.
Yeah, he's got 30 goals in all competitions this season, 15 goals in 25 games in the Eredivisie. He's been getting better and better, hasn't he? Feels like we're back in 2023 when we're deciding whether Troy Parrott should be in our squad or not. Obviously, back then it was more about homegrown quota. If we can make it work, should he stick around? Obviously, we got a fairly decent fee, was it 8 million or so? We ended up selling him for. And he's gone on to do quite well. Obviously, it is in the Dutch league, and you do have to caveat that. But I think if Tottenham were to go down, we could do a lot worse than getting someone like Troy Parrott back. And if he improves at the rate he's going, maybe he could be a Premier League striker by the time we get back in. And I think definitely for the Championship, I think he would fit very nicely. And having a player that cares about the club, who grew up with the club, and he's currently doing quite well in one of the top leagues, is good. Yeah,
year on year as well. And I feel like if we were to go down, Solanke and Richarlison would probably go. That leaves us with the striking options if we were to bring in Troy Parrott and Will Lancashire to go into the Championship next season. And I think that's two decent Championship options.
Lancashire's already shown his ability to score goals to that level. But you've got to remember, Parrott as well, international level, he's been scoring. He scored a hat-trick. Yeah. Who had he scored? He scored a hat-trick for Ireland. I can't remember who he was against, and also scored a double against Portugal. Yeah. Was it Hungary he scored a hat-trick?
Yeah, I think it was Hungary. But he's showing his striking credentials quite regularly.
I think didn't he score as well over the playoffs? I think maybe a penalty. I think he scored one.
That hat trick was in the playoffs, wasn't it? Or was it to get to the playoffs? It was
to get to the playoffs. It was a big game. They needed like a massive. He scored in the last minute, didn't he, to send them to the playoffs? So he's shown he can perform on big stages as well. So I think there's probably already maybe some teams looking at probably in the either higher teams in the Dutch league or maybe other teams. But I think it's a bit of an opportunity that you wouldn't really get. I know I understand where ultimately you want to be. You probably want better than Troy Parrott. But if we were to go down, getting a striker that scored that amount of goals in the Dutch league, I mean, not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, do you think he is a player that, you side him for the Championship, and then probably if we do get promoted straight away, we might look to move him on again? Or do you think he can be part of a team of Spurs in the Premier League?
I think it depends how he does. If he smashes the Championship, I think you give him a chance in the Premier League. I think you've seen other strikers, when they go up with their teams from the Championship, it can kind of work. And so I think if he does really well, 20 plus goals or so, I think you give him a chance in the Premier League. But obviously, if we go up and he's had a okay season, then maybe you move him on.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about Luka Vuskovic now, because not such great news regarding him. Alistair Gold and Bild mainly reporting, Alistair Gold just relaying the information from Bild, saying that Tottenham defender Luka Vuskovic's knee joint is believed to be more severely damaged than first thought, and the youngster has not even been able to do any individual rehabilitation work on the grass. A comeback against Hoffenheim this Saturday night in Hamburg is currently looking doubtful, with no timeline on the return given by Bild. Obviously, he got injured, I think, a week ago or a week and a half ago, and yeah, looking like it's more damage than first thought, which is gutting, really, with no return date in sight, with the World Cup just round the corner. Everyone had high hopes of watching him at the World Cup. Let's hope that he's going to be able to make it.
Yeah, let's hope it's nothing serious, but knee injuries always can be very complicated, can't they? We've had enough knee injuries in recent years, haven't we, at Tottenham Hotspur? It seems to be a bit of a curse. And the fact that he's been having such a great season, he keeps going from strength to strength. to get this at this point. Obviously, let's hope it's nothing serious. We have to wait and hear more information. But if it is a serious knee injury, that'll be truly gutting for him, especially on the cusp of that World Cup, as you say. What a moment that would have been for him. A culmination of all the amazing trajectory he's been on over the last few years, which has been incredible. Like, in terms of European football, there's very few players on the current trajectory that he's on. The upward trajectory, from step to step. So let's just hope he can be back for the World Cup or back before the end of the season. It's not bad, but don't want to hear that, do you? When a young player picks up a bad injury, it's horrible news.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shock to the system hearing a negative report about Luka Vuskovic. I know it's not about performance or anything like that, but ever since we first heard about Luka Vuskovic when he was 16, it's just been positive, 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 positive. And this is, unfortunately, the first kind of negative report we've heard about him.
Well, look, that's part of football.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to kind of live with that. And that's what players have to go through. You have highs, and he's had a lot of highs. And look, we'll have to wait and see, because I don't want to go overboard. It might be not too bad, and maybe he'll be back before the end of the season. But if it is a serious knee injury, then there's an incredible low that he's going to have to suffer. And that's kind of what you have to deal with as a footballer.
Yeah. Let's talk about potential transfers, some more potential transfers, and let's talk about Leeds goalkeeper Karl Darlow.
Oh, what the names? The names
Karl Darlow. Did you ever think you'd hear Spurs being linked with Karl Darlow? Did you?
Never in my life.
As Mike McGrath from The Telegraph says that Tottenham have an interest in Leeds goalkeeper Karl Darlow. Spurs will look to add a homegrown goalkeeper in the summer, with the 35-year-old being out of contract. So Spurs sniffing around all the out-of-contract players at this moment in time. Andy Robertson to Marcos Senesi, down to Karl Darlow. Look, don't get me wrong, Karl Darlow has actually had a fantastic season for Leeds this year. He really has. If we stay up, I can't see us signing him.
He would have to take the Fraser Forster role, wouldn't he?
But I mean, we got Kinski, who's have had 2 good games now. So you'd expect us to sign a replacement for Vicario and have Kinski there, and probably stick with Brandon as our third choice, unless Karl Darlow is accepting of the third choice role.
And then that means Austin would leave.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only real way I see this working for us. Unless we go down and he becomes either number 1 or number 2. He could even be number 1 in the Championship. You never know. But unless it's, for me, unless he's kind of taken the Forster role of being third choice, I don't really want him, to be honest. I know I remember once against Spurs, he had him for Newcastle. I remember he played for Newcastle. They had an unbelievable game. Classic Tottenham.
I think he's had a great season. I think he's been playing well week in, week out, Karl Darlow. He's surprised a lot of people this season.
I think he's decent, but look, he shouldn't be our number 1, should he?
Definitely not. Obviously not.
So I guess if Vicario leaves, if Kinski comes in as number 1, maybe he's a backup. It's not the worst in the world, is it?
Do you think there's a possibility of that, of like Kinski really performing from now to the end of the season? And then us saying, nah, we don't need to sign a replacement for Vicario. We got one right here.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I think we like Kinski. I think he's done all right. I mean, yeah, I guess he has to show.
You wouldn't have said that before 2 games ago, you know what I mean?
I think he has to. Well, not necessarily. I think I understand he had that unbelievable game against Atletico, which, can happen. I think he hasn't really had a fair crack, has he? Ever since coming to Tottenham, I know he also hasn't really had a level of consistent performances, and so he's got to show that. But I like Kinski. I think he's a young keeper still, and I think he's got a lot of potential. So I wouldn't mind making him number 1 in the Championship.
Yeah, but I'm talking about if we stay up. Like, can you see us?
Oh no, sorry. If we stay up, no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I thought you.
If we go down, yeah, of course. But if we stay up,
no, Kinski won't be number 1 if we stay up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I misheard.
So I mean, in the Championship, going into the Championship with Kinski and Karl Darlow, I'd take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
But in the Premier League,
no,
I just can't see us signing Karl Darlow. This is majorly a Championship signing.
Yeah, for sure. Have to be.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Pape Matar Sarr, the Footy Insider. Wait for this one. The Footy Insider are saying Tottenham midfielder Pape Matar Sarr is attracting interest from Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. Spurs' potential relegation has put his future in doubt, with top clubs ready to move if it becomes available. Real Madrid and Bayern Munich.
Last week it was Fenerbahce and who was it?
Galatasaray.
Galatasaray. Now it's Madrid and Bayern. So welcome to the wonderful world of football transfer rumours. Now it's Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. No chance he's going to one of those clubs.
You don't think Harry Kane's put in a good word?
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe Kane liked him, but Kane didn't play with him that long, did he?
To be fair, though, we were saying when the links first came out, Eric Dyer to Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
What do I know about these clubs? I don't think he's going to go to one of those, to be honest. I don't think he's quite good enough just yet. I do see him not going to a Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. I think he's better than that if he was to move on. But yeah, Real Madrid and Bayern, can't see it.
Could you imagine?
Personally.
That'd be crazy.
He might be well there. Who knows?
Look, I do think Pape is a good player, but we just haven't seen that level of consistency of him just yet. 23, still young, but you don't get clubs calling for you like Real Madrid and Bayern Munich without showing that level of consistency, in my opinion. Eric Dyer was a different situation because Eric Dyer
promoting?
Fair, but Eric Dyer was like at the end of his career, and they just brought him in as like a short-term option. Pape Matar Sarr, you don't bring in as a short-term option. He's a young player with a future ahead of him. You know what I mean? So I think it's completely different situations. But
yeah, but that's even more to say you don't. You're buying him more for potential rather than what he's showing. That's what you're buying. So maybe they see something in him, which not that we don't, but what we because I think we in an ideal world want to keep him, but we have just too many in number 8s. So we have to let go of one of them.
Yeah.
And maybe they think, wow, we get him a cheap deal, and this guy could be a very big player in the future, or worth a lot more than we signed him for. If let's say we agree like a £30 million deal, that price could shoot up very quickly.
Yeah, it's mad the way we kind of think about Sarr, because like a couple of years ago, we were talking about him as like potentially being one of the best young midfielders in the Premier League. The narrative's not quite the same now, is it?
Well, no, because obviously we've been awful. I think Sarr's a good player. I think in Ange's first season he was very good. I thought he was really good that season, and then last season he was kind of up. Was and
Ange's
down.
First season when the AFCON came about?
I think
it was, wasn't it?
I think it was both AFCONs last year and the year before, wasn't it?
So the AFCON, because
this year was AFCON.
This year was AFCON and Ange's first season, right? So he was very good up until that kind of AFCON came about. And then he never seemed to like recover that form, did he?
I just remember him being quite good.
It was mainly in the first part of the season.
I think for a young, he was like 21. For most of the season, it was a good season for him. I think he scored like 5 goals. He was, contributing really well. He started the season obviously brilliantly, wasn't he? That was for sure. Obviously, I think he falls off like the rest of the team. He's not one to carry the team, is he? I think when the team's playing well, he's doing well. And when the team's not doing well, he also suffers for it. But I think you put him in a good team, I think you'll see a much better Pape Matar Sarr.
I agree. I think he's a good player. And last but not least, let's talk about Lucas Bergvall, the update that probably no one wants to hear right now. Hopefully not true. Caught offside, saying Arsenal and Chelsea both monitoring a potential summer move for Lucas Bergvall. Spurs currently view the 20-year-old as unsellable and a key part of their long-term project, but uncertainty around their Premier League status could open the door to offers. Creative proposals are expected from interested clubs if Spurs to be relegated.
Yeah, he's not going to Arsenal.
He's better not
going to Arsenal. I can say that now, categorically. Chelsea.
You know who our CEO is, right?
It's true. That double agent. Maybe he's doing a backhanded deal. It's probably already agreed, knowing him.
Do not rule anything out with Vinay as our CEO. I'll tell you that. Do not.
Chelsea, you know what? If the money's big enough, I could see Chelsea. I can see him going to Chelsea.
They were interested in him in January last year, weren't they?
They were, and we rebuffed it. Obviously, we're going to do our best, I'm assuming, as a club to not sell to one of those two. Villa are reportedly interested. We know he's a very good player. It hasn't really been a good season for him, if we're all being honest. It's definitely not been as good as he was last season.
I think more fault to the management than to him, to be honest.
Yeah, there's, I think, a lot of reasons. I don't think it's completely his fault, but the reality is he hasn't. I still think we all know there's a very, very good player in there. There's a really special player in there, potentially. And I think Tottenham should do everything they can to keep him. They shouldn't sell him. If we go down, there might have to be some hard decisions to make, but let's hope Bergvall's not one of them. That's all I can say.
Well, let's just hope we don't go down.
Yeah, that's also true.
I think that's the main sticking point there. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know if you think that's complete and utter trash.
It's caught offside, so.
Yeah, I think those last two reports are complete and utter trash. I'm not believing a word of them. But I think there's something in maybe the Karl Darlow thing, Troy Parrott thing maybe as well. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.